welcome back to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. I am joined by a special guest as we launch a series where we are just interviewing practice members and just having a conversation about their health journey. And so what better way to understand like practical health knowledge than people that have just been walking through it over the last few years. As many of you know, I've been kind of doing it for decades now, and sometimes I lose sight of how I started and kind of communicate from where I'm at today. So we're joined by Kristen Grigsby. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, of course. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about your health journey. Like when did it start?
Okay.
Like how many years ago? And what were some of the shifts early on for you?
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
what started your health journey?
So crazy thinking about this, but when I was thinking about when did I step foot into the Real Health Co. and meet you was I think around like 9 years ago.
Really?
Which is crazy. It's been that long.
Wow.
Because I think back and it's like, man, this has been a journey of like seasons of life. So
Yeah,
I first
that's right.
came here before I was married.
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped in. My mom was coming first. And I stepped in because I had since childhood, like terrible allergies. I cheered growing up. I played tennis. My height is not built for the impact of tumbling and stunning and all that comes with cheerleading. So I came with a crazy spine, not even knowing it. But what I was feeling at the time, I had been on Zyrtec since a child.
Wow.
I could not, anybody that knew me as a kid when I went on vacations with friends, families, like, oh, don't let her skip for Zyrtec. And if I did, I would have like brain fog, headaches.
Oh, wow.
I would get this like rash, like kind of itchy reaction. All the while finding out later it was this huge histamine reaction. Everything was messed up.
Yeah.
But in coming to you, seasonal allergies were like always at a height for me every time they rolled around. Headaches. And so when I came to you, my mom had suggested coming because of allergies. She's like, hey, give it a try. I hear this helps. And I think the first time I met you, we looked at my arc of life.
Yes.
And everything that the arc of life, like you had said, asthma, allergies, headaches, these are like direct things that you can fix with chiropractic care. So over time, like I saw some immediate shifts, like headaches immediately I felt like were starting to improve in a pretty short amount of time. But in being consistent with it, I realized like next time a seasonal would come, it was like it was lessening. And I was like, this is huge because I was off Zyrtec and I was finding like for the first time in a long time, like relief, allergy relief. So
you're able to like manage it without needing the medication.
yes.
And I always talk to patients like seasonally every year, when someone comes in with chronic allergies, asthma or whatever, and they're used to medications, it doesn't necessarily dramatically get better that season. But what they find is that year over year, the longer they're under chiropractic care, you find that their immune systems become more regulated, balanced, to where every season the need for medication reduces to the point where maybe in a couple years, not only are they off medication, but they really don't even have virtually any symptoms anymore. So it's a progression, right? Health and healing is a progression over time.
Totally. And it was an investment for me that I saw, like I started seeing some instant relief, but I realized like, if I'm going to commit to this, I'm going to see change. And it was amazing in committing and investing of coming and like the change that came. So I think like you walked me in that season when I first started coming, like I saw improvement with allergies, with chiropractic care. And then in learning more about overall wellness, I did like a detox. I can't remember when it was.
Sure.
That just like kind of reset. We approached like nutrition and learning how there's so many things that go into our health. But nutrition is such a big part, especially for regaining like a strong gut. Mm-hmm. And what I was fueling my body with played a really big part. So I had some inflammation we calmed, and I started feeling some energy back, and it was amazing. So I ended up, meeting my husband, in meeting him, ironically, we shared this common ground of terrible seasonal allergies.
Sure.
And I think my husband Kyle eventually came to you because of a chiropractic, like a CrossFit injury.
Sure, most men do.
And it was like, okay, now
Back's blown out.
Can I come see him? Back's blown out. And then it was like he had same thing on Zyrtec
I remember
for
that.
years.
Yeah.
And he couldn't go without it, and he had terrible brain fog. And so and in getting the help for the back pain, all of a sudden his seasonal allergies were getting better, and he was like, I can't miss appointments now because there's something to this.
Yeah.
So that was super cool. And then we were at that point, then we were married, and we were having conversations of like, okay, let's chat on like, what can we do to set our family up if we start thinking on fertility when that time comes for us? Like, what are great things to help strengthen that and like do right now?
That's good.
And
for fertility, most people don't realize that it really is what you do today affects you your fertility 1 year from now. So, the egg that you're releasing today, ladies, it was actually grown over a year ago. And so what we don't realize is if we're thinking about fertility, we actually have to think a year in advance, if not more, to drive a healthy, fertile outcome.
That was like mind blowing to me too, because I remember you telling me that, and I was like, man, you think of what can I do? Now we're like starting now trying to start our family. And I was like, wait, like our health, things that we can do to impact our health in a positive way, we can like do it now.
Yeah.
And that was like, when you told me that, I was like, man, so that was like, you were such an encouragement to us in that season of, as we were thinking when the time comes to start, a family, getting that going and laying like a good foundation. And two, like learning from just women that have had just journeys of infertility. In talking with you, hip alignment, you had said, is really important for conceiving.
Yep.
And so I think being under regular chiropractic care was another added aspect of when the time came, making sure everything was aligned down there well. So, and then we'll see the next season would be with our first Haven and having pregnancy, walking through that. And I would say like motherhood, like a new pregnant mom, you are just overwhelmed with, you get so many opinions, and being under chiropractic care was such a gift, honestly. And I will say, Dr. Barrett, like any person that I've met through this community you've connected me to, or advice that you've given Kyle and I has been sound. And it's been amazing to see as a woman going through that. It's a vulnerable time.
Sure.
And your body changes. You feel some aches and pains that are different. And I remember coming into it so wide-eyed. I felt like, I don't know what's going on. I feel changes in my body, and ways that you would advise for just overall wellness for pregnancy. Like, these are things to look for your body could be depleted on.
Yeah.
These are things to help just strengthen and protect this baby during this time. And then just, oh my goodness, I feel like I'd come into you and I'm like, I'm feeling this. What is that?
Yes.
And, walking through like, okay, at some point you're going to have round ligament pain.
Right.
Not long ago, I was like, oh, what is this? Is this too early for round ligament? Oh, it's psoas. So just,
helping navigate like you've never, going to your first, you've never been pregnant. So everything's new.
Everything.
And also, like you said, there are so many opinions as to how we should, raise our families in terms of health, or the way we should look at even as simple as where the kid sleeps at night and what does that look like? And should we breastfeed, bottle feed, formula, supplement, like, what do we do here? And navigating all of that, what we realize, is it is important to have someone in your corner
Yes.
that provides, not necessarily like dogmatic, it has to be this way, but just provides another opinion that you trust and can help you through those times of uncertainty. And so now, going through those seasons of life where you were, single and then married and then, with Haven, you're raising a healthy family.
Yes.
And you guys have made health changes outside of chiropractic that have been so significant, I'm sure. Like from how you and I were probably raised as a child versus today. Not taking anything away from our parents, but the reality is the more you learn, the more you have opportunity to add value to your health and your family. So what are some other things that you and Kyle have done that have added value to your health that have been significant?
I feel like
even as simple as like, have you changed what you clean with, or you know what I mean? Because the obvious is like, we eat healthier.
Yes.
But like, what are some other areas that you guys have invested in?
So I think you tap your foot into the like health space, and I think so many people, it becomes so overwhelming that they're paralyzed, and it's like, I don't even know where to start. And I think it's like household things or like cosmetics or things that we're like putting as women, makeup, but like things in the shower, toothpaste, like all of that, I think is like a gradual, like what I've told people around is like, make one healthy swap and switch as you run out of a thing at a time, because like it can be so overwhelming to just full haul. And like my personality, I want to be like, let's just do it all.
That's right.
But that's like to be cost effective with it. It's like start with what you're running out with and switch there. But yes, like
that's right. That's good
learning
wisdom.
Like the education side of things, of how you've advised on, it all plays a part, and it's not something, we live in a fallen world, so it's not something to be overcome with, but knowing we are making choices as consumers of like what we're using and putting on our skin, putting in our body. And so Kyle and I, it's important for foods that we're eating, focusing on whole foods, lean meats, like vegetables, and now having a child, it's so wild to see how in children there's such a direct correlation of what we're feeding and fueling their body. Anybody that knows when Haven has some type of sugar, like, whew,
crazy.
We are here and it's a party.
Yes, that's right.
We're bouncing off every wall.
Yes.
And it's just like, you see that direct impact in a child, but in adults, it's just inflammation on top of inflammation that we carry that then ends up turning into other things. And so I think it's amazing just the encouragement that you've given Kyle and I on like strong support of gut health. Like what can you do through like supplementation? Is there things that we might be depleted in, which most of us are? Good supplementation, and then fueling our body with nutrition and things and gut health, just focusing on things that can turn into other, if they're just, not addressed. Clean water. We do have like water filtration in our home, which is amazing how that has a huge impact. Simple.
Yeah. And we talk to patients every day. They're like, hey, what are like the investments I make in my home? We're already on this journey of chiropractic care. We're moving our body. We are changing our food, and at home, I'd say the most important thing is cleaning up your water, because the water supply, like Knoxville Municipal Water Supply or Oak Ridge, just published that they have mercury in their water supply. So you look at it, and we do have heavy metals, pharmaceuticals, hormones in our water. So definitely cleaning up our water is so important, as we are consuming quite a bit of it. And then you start getting into, like you said, you can get deep. You can get into like mattresses, how dirty those are. I mean, even the clothes we wear is a bunch of microplastics, and it can get overwhelming for sure. But what I talk to people about, and I think you apply the principle, is really the 80-20 principle. 80% of your health is going to come from 20% of these pillars of chiropractic care, movement, eat well, sleep well, and have healthy relationships. And when you support those areas, then it takes care of most of what you need.
Yes.
And so you don't have to get so obsessed about everything being perfect, because it'll never be perfect. So, yeah, in this journey for you, looking ahead, is there anything, like, what's next for you? Like, are you having a conversation with Kyle about, like, hey, this is the next thing we need to clean up, or looking ahead?
We really want a sauna.
Oh, really?
We do.
That's my number 2. So if anyone asks me, number 1 is water filtration, just getting clean water. Whether that's just simple $200 reverse osmosis under the sink or a Berkey. But the number 2 household recommendation is definitely a sauna.
Yeah, we want one so bad.
Yeah.
We've not been able space-wise to do that yet, but it is like top priority. And share a little quick, like, why sauna? And for like him and for me.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, saunas to me are one of the best ways to detox the body daily. So sweating is our natural form of detoxification, and if you actually just test sweat, you'll see a bunch of chemicals, cancer-causing chemicals, heavy metals come out through our sweat. So sweating is really important. Actually, if you see people that are unhealthy, they are typically unable to sweat. So their ability to sweat is reduced as they start to clog those pores. And that's what even aluminum deodorant does. Like the antiperspirants, that aluminum shrinks pores so you don't sweat, right? So that's why aluminum's so dangerous for your body, because it locks everything in and then you can't sweat. So when we look at saunas, sweating alone is a wonderful benefit. But then when you look at more research, you see that saunas activate things like heat shock proteins. So what that really means is every day your body's damaged cells go through a process of what we call proteins that fold in on themselves and then unfold. So they go through this healing process. And heat, exposure to heat or super cold temperatures, allow your body to pretty much kill all the bad cells and keep the good ones. So it creates this like resilient, strong cell within the body. And then there's anti-cancer benefits. There's neuroprotective benefits for Alzheimer's, dementia. There is even the benefit of like stress resiliency. When you expose your body to high temperatures, high heat temperatures, or really low temperatures, so cold plunging, that stresses the nervous system. But in a good way, it actually trains your body to handle stress better. So we see reduction in anxiety, in depression, any psychiatric-based disorders. We see improvements in those symptoms. So the list goes on. And for me, it's also just a place where I can have like a place in my house that I can kind of escape to.
Place of rest.
Yeah, and like escape to, and like have like a little like just me time, moment time, right? So there's some other benefits to that as well. So sauna is definitely my number 2
it's up there
recommendation. Yeah, absolutely. So you are pregnant with your second.
Pregnant with second.
Yeah, congratulations.
So thankful. Thank you.
Is there anything you're doing differently during this pregnancy compared to the first? Does it feel different? Like second time around the son, it's like, things are different.
I think like this time around,
you feel more like calm?
More at ease a little bit. You know, the first time around, you're just like so wide-eyed of what do I expect, what do I do, what do I not do, and this time around just I feel really grateful. I feel grateful knowing, being within chiropractic care, knowing my labor and delivery with Haven was amazing. I thank the Lord for that. It was fast and furious, we say, but the one thing I heard over and over of why chiropractic and pregnancy was aligning the baby.
Yeah, that's right.
That it can sometimes, if that baby's not aligned, women are laboring
longer than they should.
Yeah,
that's right.
And so she was in great position when her time was ready to come. Yeah. So,
more at ease.
More at ease. Yeah. Pregnancy-wise, I feel more at ease. I think I have more understanding of, you've helped on, again, like knowing, okay, these are things that I took last time to just create a safe space for this baby to grow, like supplementation that was needed in pregnancy. And Lab work's coming back really great, which
Yep.
is amazing to see that
Yeah.
just as a confirmation of what's being done. And
Yeah.
I think I feel really grateful knowing with Haven, you know, chiropractic in children is phenomenal. She was adjusted with you, like her
Days.
first adjustment
Yeah.
was days old, like
Yep.
a couple days old. And it was the most gentle adjustment, and learning how chiropractic in babies is like so great for reflux, which
Yeah.
is so common with babies are like you see constipation or reflux. And it was, you know, she came out so fast. She was a little
Yep. That's
jammed
right.
up, and in her adjustments in those days old, and then the first like month or so, there was just things like I remember, you know, she was kind of slow with rolling at
Yep, rolling
first,
patterns,
and you
yeah.
just you showed really like practical, hey, do this at home to just help her mind like learn. And you're like, you know, you feel overwhelmed now, but Kristen, she's gonna be like everywhere, and this child is
just a
like
matter of time.
everywhere, bouncing
Yeah.
off walls, running. She was rolling, she was, you
Yes.
know, doing all those
Yeah.
developmental things. But I think the peace of mind this time around being pregnant is like I have seen firsthand in my child of being consistent, but staying with, you know, weekly visits with her immune system.
Oh,
like,
so good.
oh my gosh, like living in days, and it's heavy and it's heartbreaking to see how sick
Yeah.
our children are today,
That's right.
which is, you know, there's a whole lot of facets as to why, but
Agreed.
I know without a doubt, like our
Yeah.
immune system, and that's, I feel like a huge reason, like I'm so grateful for you and Becky and the calling you have of providing the Real Health Code to our community, because I feel like it's making stronger like healthier families, stronger immune systems. And I'm so grateful for modern medicine,
Of course.
but I feel like this is a huge, crucial
Yeah.
part in the preventative side of
That's right.
building a strong immune system, that those are things you can do to create a firm foundation in your
Yeah.
health. And so with this child on the way, I look at the experience we walked with Haven and just those newborn days into early days, and then like through toddlerhood, opening the drainage passage, like the pathways
Yeah.
for chiropractic care,
Sure.
has like ear infections. Praise God,
Yeah.
but like we just
Don't have
don't
them.
have them.
Yeah, it's amazing. Kids that are under care on a regular basis, we don't see them. We don't
Yeah.
see ear infections. They may have some like fluid build up.
Sure.
They come in, they get adjusted, and it's better. You know, of course, they're going to have coughs and colds and sneezes.
Yes.
But like, how well are they handling it? How well are they healing from it? Like, health is not a measure of not getting symptoms.
Yes.
It's a measurement of how well you improve or how
Yes.
well you handle
Yes.
those illnesses that come, those viruses that come your way. So when you look at our community as a whole, it's about 60% female moms.
Okay.
So if you were just to add some value to moms,
Yeah.
what's like a word of encouragement just on your health journey, and what you could provide, maybe some value to them?
Oh,
What would be the last thing to leave them with?
First, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone, and I feel like this is a incredible community of. I think being a mom and motherhood can feel really scary and isolating at times.
Sure.
Of being overwhelmed with all the information of do this, don't do this, and I feel like having this as a weekly part, I like. Haven loves coming here.
We love having her.
She loves. This is just a
She don't
weekly
wanna
part.
leave.
She doesn't want to leave.
She's got friends here.
She's got friends here. But I think like motherhood in general, once you have that baby, our bodies go from like the strongest in pregnancy to like the weakest, like so depleted
Sure.
after we have that baby. And it's been amazing. Just the sound advice you've given of ways to rebuild that strength through, if it's needed, supplementation, and seeing the functional side.
Yep.
You know, after having Haven, I went through another little health journey there of some thyroid stuff
Sure.
that had popped up that was totally new, had never had it prior, but that was all postpartum for me. And finding out how many women hormones are off, right? And we
That's
just,
right.
like, for so long I lived in a fog because I was like, oh, wait, this is just, like, motherhood's hard. Like, I'm tired. It's normal to be in fog. Like, moms just are superhumans.
Yep.
And I just wrote a lot of it off, and then realizing and talking to you, like, some thyroid care and coming to see the functional side of the Real Health Co. And it was amazing seeing those numbers drop by like the advice that you'd given. And, I had gone through like a couple years prior to conceiving this now second baby, a lingering virus, post-virus, that just this cough that was lingering and then became kind of debilitating. Like I would be up in the night. I'd lose sleep from like 2 to 6. I was running like newborn hours, but it was this almost like this autoimmune that like roared up.
Yes.
All while hormones had been off, but I just hadn't fully addressed like
it was a tough season.
It was a really tough season. And I think I talked to so many women and, it's like, man, maybe my thyroid's off, or I haven't thought to explore. And, I went to a few different doctors during that time that my thyroid numbers were kind of high. And, first it was like, oh, maybe this is an allergy. So I went back on some allergy support, went on a steroid, went on to try to clear up, maybe this is lingering, infection or something. All the while, I just came to a breaking point of being on my knees one night, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm losing sleep. I have a little one, wife. Like, as a mom, we balance a lot of plates, and I was like, I feel like I'm just about to drop them all. And it was actually right around that time, fully launching like the functional side of Real Health Co. was kind of happening. And I remember coming to you and I just broke down in my chiropractic adjustment. And I was like, I can't, I don't know what's going on with my body. It's out of control.
I remember.
And you're like, man, I knew you were walking through this. Didn't know it was, we got to get you in ASAP. And you did, which was amazing. And all that to say, when I think of motherhood, I think we become so depleted of a lot, and our hearts are to just serve our family that's around us. And in taking the time to really deep dive into what I was walking through, my immune system was roaring because there was a lot of depletion. And so we focused on a lot of strong immune support that then led to thyroid just calming, which then led to like this sweet baby now that
that's right.
the Lord allowed.
I remember that moment and just thinking, okay, hold on, pause. Let's address this.
Yes.
Because sometimes, through the flow of chiropractic, you're just focused on the adjustment, and you don't really. I don't have a ton of time dialoguing with practice members, but there are moments where the Lord just puts me on break and says, "Okay, hold on, stop the press. Whatever we need to do, we need to address this because I don't feel like you're addressing it properly." Yeah. And so, and that's where it is. Like you said, moms can feel like they're on an island and just trying to navigate their health journey, and but there's a community of people that, have been there, done that. And it's always good to just get sound advice from those around you that you trust. And you guys are a wonderful example of a family that is making just, constant steps, balanced steps, and consistent steps of health changes moving forward. It's not black or white. It's not all in and then you're all out. I've just seen a nice, steady, beautiful progression of health changes that you guys have made, and you're seeing that in the fruit of your family. And so it's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, we still will always have things that come up that are challenges, that are health challenges, and how do we navigate those? And so, man, I'm just so grateful that you guys have been under care. You're some of our favorite. I can say
you.
that on a podcast. Thousands of people that listen, but you're truly some of our favorite patients. We care so much for you guys, and so thankful for you guys.
Thankful for you.
Yeah.
So thankful. I mean, that's what I look at all that I've learned on a journey. It has been a total journey, you know, and I'm so grateful for just, I think of like what I wouldn't know or what I wouldn't have gained if not being a part of coming under regular chiropractic care. It's really where it all started.
Yeah, that's right.
I had some bad seasonal allergies.
It all started there.
And now I could get teary-eyed of just seeing the journey of years and the impact now on our children. And you see just like that, and that just, it means so much. So thank you for all that you do for our family and for us and for Kyle. We just are so grateful.
It's an honor. We always say families in our practice are healthier than families out of our practice.
Yes.
So just families, they just got you to stay here, stay under care, stay under the culture of health, and you'll truly make the right decisions. So, well, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time. And thanks again for listening to another episode of the Real Health Podcast.